Hey, what's up? Nathan here from PHStudios. Welcome back to another podcast episode. And in this episode, we're going to discuss the changes we are going to make in 2011 for the website. And some of the changes you will love, and I don't think any changes I'm going to be making involve membership status or anything, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. I'm going to be changing the stuff that's wrong with the website that have been wrong for a few years now. And let me give you a little background history on that. About 2 years ago, when I created the website, I was in a full-time student status. I was taking 12, sometimes 13 credit hours a semester, and I was working 20 to 30 hours. I'm at 30 hours now. So my time was very limited on what I can do on the website. If you looked at the overall year, you would see a spike of content, over the summertime, and then it died off during the semester time. So that's why you do not see a lot of content released during the usual time. And of course, the last few weeks has been the holidays, so I've been on vacation and stuff like that from school, so I took some time off, celebrated the New Year's with family and friends and all that stuff. Okay. So, fast forward to this year. I'm only taking one class. It's a senior level computer science class, so it might get a little bit busy later on in the semester, but I'm going to anticipate that, and I'll tell you what I mean in a few minutes. I'm still working 35 hours a week, but I'm only taking one class, so with that much free time, I'm able to make a more consistent schedule for releasing tutorials. I'm going to shoot for at least 2 tutorials a week, like I've wanted to for a while now, but then schoolwork takes priority, so I had to go and do my schoolwork instead. But with only one class, you should see a more consistent schedule. And I'm going to anticipate being busy later on in the semester, so what I'm going to do is this weekend, next weekend, I'm going to, whatever time I have free, I'm going to just create a bunch of tutorials. I will not stop, and just create like a whole bunch of tutorials that I'm just going to store on my hard drive. Then when the weekend comes up, I'm going to release 2 of them. Pick 2 of them, release them, give them to you. And then that's it. Next week, the week after that, take 2 more, release them to you. That's it. So if I have 50 tutorials recorded, I'm only going to give you 2 tutorials a week still. Maybe I'll throw in 3 tutorials a week. Depends. Like if I have 50 tutorials, I'll throw in 3 tutorials a week. But if I have 6 tutorials, and I'm going to be creating a group project for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to limit it to about 2 tutorials. Because if I give you 3 tutorials, that's just 2 weeks. Then I have to create more. So that's the idea behind that. So before I get super busy with classwork, I'm just going to create a whole bunch of tutorials, but I will not release them to you until we meet up with the 2 tutorials a week. So there might be a really great tutorial that I do, but you will not see it for 2 months later or something like that. I think you would appreciate that a lot more than what I do now. And that way I can anticipate being busy and I can just log on, upload tutorials, give them to you, that's it, and log back out. Instead of spending 2-3 hours writing a 10-minute video and then encoding that video and putting it on YouTube and getting it on the premium area and all that stuff, 2, 3, 4 hours of work for a 10-minute video, it's a little time consuming when you have classwork. So that's what I wanted. That was one of the biggest changes that I want to do. If you've seen the website in the past few weeks or are registered on the forums and have a active account and are able to receive email notifications, I've emailed this short version to you before Christmas time, I believe. And sorry if I'm talking a little weird. My nose is a little stuffy. It's been snowing and the weather's been up and down and stuff like that. So, anyway, I've demonstrated what I want to do for the website. The first thing you should see here is the forums. Next thing you will notice was on the website, or on the email, you will notice I talked about the schedule. And I talked about how it's been a little bit slower than I wanted it to be. And I'd like to take the time to thank every one of you that have stuck through the dark times, slow times, and have made it through to this point. If you see on the last forums, it had a little beta sticker, like right here. So the website was not really completed. I left it in beta because I was in school and work and stuff like that. I didn't have time to devote to it. But with this being my last class, hopefully, after I build up the consistent schedule, and once I get out of this class in summer and then fall, I can do more work on this website. So that's why it's not in beta anymore. So I'd like to thank all of you that have stuck through the dark times, slow times, and I'm glad you stuck around, and I apologize for getting bogged down with work, schoolwork, or anything, but that takes priority, and that will not be the case anymore because I'm anticipating it, and only one class, so I will have free times. Every Thursday, my whole day is completely blank, and I can just do tutorials that day, but still release them over the weekend. Okay, so that's a consistent schedule that I'm going to be keeping. The forum design. Now this is not complete. There's still some issues that I need to work out, but you can use the skin. And for some reason, one of the members is having an issue with that. I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that. But if you do not see the skin, if you scroll down to the very bottom and click here, you should see the option for PHStudios V2. If you do not see that, let me know, because that's the issue he's having too. So I'm trying to figure out why he's not seeing that option. So anyway, the main website is still having the old dark style theme. I'm probably not going to update it that much because that's just my get on here blog, and you can see the email here. I just copied and pasted the email, and you can see what I said about it. The anticipated tower defense series will be starting finally, due to more time I have, and I will be able to provide more consistent schedule for releasing the tutorials than I could before. So I'll be starting the tower defense series. However, I'm going to start that after I do the maps tutorial and finish the audio tutorials and all the prerequisite tutorials you need to be aware of before you go into the game. I think that would be a better option than doing it the way I have planned before, and that was just creating the whole thing from scratch. But I think what I'm going to do is I already did the maps tutorial, and I'm already going to do the audio tutorial, so I don't need to cover those again in the tower defense series. So I'm going to say, if you have not watched this tutorial, go back and watch this. Pause the video, stop the video. Remember to keep this time frame, or write this time down where you left off, because right as soon as you unpause this video from this location, I'm going to assume you watched that tutorial. Then I'm going to drag the maps class files into it and modify it a bit, but I'm going to build on those tutorials in the actual tower defense one. So that's my idea behind it. I'll create a list of tutorials you should watch before going into the tower defense series. And just like the other series, I'm going to do the content probably at the same time. I'm going to do both of them at the same time this time, I think. So I will talk about the audio, the video. If I create a video for the game, I'll talk about that, and the graphics. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the update for 2011. Probably the biggest one I wanted to do was focus on the consistent schedule. And I apologize for not being that consistent in the past. But like I said, with schoolwork and real work, I really didn't have time to occasionally keep a consistent schedule. But that's a senior level computer science class. It's my only class. But assume that class in the later time of the semester, I'll assume it takes a 3 classes type of work that I need to do. So even then, I'll be minus a class of work. So I'll still have a lot of time to mess with things. So this weekend, I'm going to do the maps part 2 and the screen system beta. And I'll talk more about that later in the actual video. But it's a screen system I've implemented. You've seen a screen system before in the Space Shooter tutorial, in the Space Shooter text tutorial, in the paddles tutorial. It's been there since the very beginning. I've just made a dedicated system that you can use. And it's more of a usage guide than a tutorial. I will not tell you how to program it. I'll just tell you how to use it. So other than that, come and look at the new skin. If you find any issues, please let me know as soon as possible so I can fix that. It's still under development, so there is still some issues. And hopefully we can get things fixed up and we don't have to worry about the skin anymore, and then we can just worry about the tutorials. On graphics users, there will be more Photoshop tutorials. The other admin that's in charge of the Photoshop, or the graphics side of the website, is having some issues at the moment with his internet, so I'm going to do what I can, but I'm still focused on the programming side. So I might make a tutorial in the next few weeks on Photoshop, just one of them. And motion graphics, I'm going to be doing a Photoshop tutorial on the user interface. It's going to be a first tutorial, so for the very first tutorial I'll do a user interface tutorial. And then I'll talk about some of the samples I provided, example videos I provided before. You can see those in projects. I think I still left them up, or maybe it's videos. PHStudios.com/projects, and video, like Smoke Suck and Hyperspace Effect. Those are the stuff I'm going to be talking about in the tutorials. And you can watch these here. They're sample videos, and I'll talk about how to do that sort of thing in your actual After Effects. And that will be a prerequisite to the After Effects tutorial found on the tower defense one, because I will not go into the user interface and all that stuff in the actual tower defense series. And that's going to be a completely separate series. I'd just like to mention that because I've had a few questions about that. The tower defense series is actually 2 series in one, a content portion and a programming portion. If you do not worry about how I created the content, you do not need to watch the content series. I will provide you all the resources, all the graphics, all the audio, all the video files that I can provide. Like there's one audio file that I used a royalty-free sound effects stuff that I cannot provide to you. So I'll just give you the audio files I can provide. And you can just use that as your, assume that's what you did, and then you can go from the programming tutorials and go from there. Alright. So 50 minutes is almost up for the YouTube limit, so I'm going to cut this out. The more consistent schedule, 2 tutorials a week starting this week. I'm going to create the maps part 2 and the screen system version 08 beta video guide, and once that's done I'll start creating more tutorials and just go through a 2 tutorials a week schedule. So I hope that you like the year 2011 for the website, and I hope you enjoy the tutorials coming up this weekend. Thanks, have a nice day.